shit. Everybody spark a split for that legend Kevin Smith.
Welcome to SModcast. I'm Kevin Smith. Okay, kids, this is a good one today, man. When you're an artist, you get fed like everyone else by other artists. If you like entertainment, if you like making movies, TV, singing, fucking writing, oh my God, it's a big ass bee in here. It's very rare that you do it isolated. I'm sure there are some geniuses out there that literally just like, I fucking have no influences whatsoever, but, I came into my own or something. A lot of us do what we do because we see other people do what they do, and their work feeds our work. Case in point, Chasing Amy, there's a scene with Jay and Silent Bob at the diner. And, they're having a conversation with our main character, Holden McNeil, who is going through some girl problems with his girlfriend, Alyssa Jones. And at one point, Jay utters the immortal line.
It's like Cube says, life ain't nothing but bitches and money.
That and in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, while the Jay and Silent Bob are hiding out in the diner when Marshall Willenholly comes looking for them. Right before they know that the cops are outside, Jay breaks into a bit of Fuck the Police by NWA.
Fuck the police. Fuck the police. Yo, fuck the police. Fuck the police. Yo, fuck them.
So the guy I get to talk to today informed what it is I do. I mean, it sounds weird to say, but he's in the DNA of my characters now. And borrowing from him and lending that credibility to my characters has made them a strong kind of fabric within the world of pop culture. And it's given me a borrowed credibility where people are like, oh, he knows the work of NWA and Ice Cube. And this is going back to, of course, the 90s. Now everybody does. But I never got a chance to thank him. I will never forget sitting there writing that script and wanting Jay to say something cool. And I was like, I know exactly what that will be. It was because Jason was a hardcore NWA fan. So it wound up in my work, man. And today I get to talk to a guy who's responsible for that. We're going to talk about many things, but chiefly we're going to talk about weed because like me, he entered into the weed space. And like me, he entered into the weed space with the same company, with Caviar Gold, Caviar Mike, who makes our Snoogans and Snoochie Boochies and Berserker. He came up with his own joint called Good Day. And it's tasty and it fucking smokes fine and shit. All caviar weed does. Welcome to SModcast. This is more honor than I feel my house could bear. The great Ice Cube. How are you, sir?
Yeah. What's up, Kevin? How you feeling, man?
Oh, incredible. Above ground, for heaven's sakes. And smoking, so that's good.
That matters, shit, at the end of the day.
Yes. Now, we were going to speak earlier, but Cube was like, I'm going to go see my pops, and which endeared you even more to me. A man who realizes the value of his parents. That's everything. A lot of people, of course, have seen the movie about a portion of your life and stuff.
Yeah.
My question, though, is kind of related to that. When you're a young artist, and particularly in the case of you guys, you're definitely not adhering to the norms of like, well, I do this, I do everything right. I abide by what my parents say. Did you have a tight relationship with your parents when you started breaking?
Yeah. I've always had a good relationship with my parents. I always appreciated my pops for staying and sticking there and being there for me. A lot of dudes, fathers, felt it easier to, they couldn't, for whatever reason, stay in a relationship. But my father stayed there. He was a big influence. So, it was always love and positivity, when it came to me and my family. When I started doing music, they was happy for me. They was happy that it was something positive. I began playing football and shit. So they was happy anything that was keeping me out the streets. So when I started doing music, the music is hardcore and shit. So my mom's was like, her church friends and shit was showing her the kind of records I was doing.
Right.
So she asked me, why you gotta be the one to do all the cussing on the records? Why you can't make clean raps? I said I got some clean raps, but I said don't nobody want to hear that. You know what I mean? They want to hear what's real.
Right.
And she would be on me about those records, you know what I'm saying, until I showed her, the little money I was making at the time.
Right.
And then, I was bringing home gold records and hanging them up in her house and things like that. So they was just straight proud of me, like I'm not in the streets, I ain't tripping, but I am, doing something that's getting recognition and positivity and putting plaques on her wall and giving her a little change. And so the church ladies seemed to shut the hell up after they saw it. It was a positive thing, you know what I mean?
Yes. I had a little bit of that when I made Clerks. My mom was like, her review of the movie to me was, you spent $27,000 on this piece of garbage? And I was like, thanks, Mom. Very Carol Brady of you. The moment my mom was interviewed by Entertainment Tonight at the Clerks premiere, you've never seen someone more proud. She's like, well, I could do without the language. Her big thing, because she was also very, very churchy, her big thing was like, everybody's going to think that I taught you this language. And I was like, that'll make you look cool amongst my friends, Mom.
No.
What was it like, and what does it continue to be like? But going back to when you guys broke, what was it like to be the voice of a generation?
Well, I mean, it's incredible to be heard. It's incredible. I never looked at us as the voice of a generation. I looked at us as doing what we do. What's a trip is we had just kind of, swallowed the fact that we was just going to be neighborhood hood stars. We was going to be hood stars. We wasn't going to be, Run DMC. We wasn't going to be EPMD and, just the big groups. So as soon as we kind of like sunk in, let that sink in and just absorb that, that's when everything blew up and it just started taking off. So always was proud that I was on the same stage with LL Cool J. I was on the same stage with Slick Rick, Public Enemy. That to me was the accomplishment. I never looked at it like, oh damn, we the voice of a generation. I always felt like we doing what we supposed to do. We showing the world what the West Coast is all about, along with Ice-T. But it was other groups. It was King T. It was Compton's Most Wanted. It was a few other groups, DJ Quick. So we were just, to me, like spearheading the movement, going behind what Ice-T had. Ice-T had laid some foundation for us that we can kind of slide in on. So, I just felt like we was doing our part. You know what I mean? It's not till afterwards I look back and then see that, yeah, we was speaking for a lot of people who couldn't or just wasn't gonna come from this angle.
Were they the way in for you? Was Ice-T the way in? Because like you and I are roughly the same age, and I'm 50, you're 50ish, right? Same thing.
Yeah.
I was of course nowhere near the West Coast and growing up in the fucking suburbs of New Jersey, but I was a massive rap fan. So we must have been into like roughly the same things around the same time. I remember when Public Enemy first broke. Prior to that, of course, like it was just all Run DMC for me. They were the top. But then there was bands like Stetsasonic, Audio 2. Did you listen to them as well?
Yeah, I've been on tour with them too as well, so it's cool. We was fans of all the East Coast groups. Like they were pros to us. And we were like locals. We considered ourselves locals. We wasn't known nationwide, worldwide. So, those were what we were aspiring to be. But Ice-T did kick the door in. He worked with a lot of groups in New York. He was friends with, KRS-One, Zulu Nation, him and Africa Islam. Which I think Africa Islam is from New Jersey. Or New York. I don't want to get it wrong and shit. I don't know. It might be from one of those boroughs. But at the end of the day, Ice-T was going on a Dope Jam tour. So he was actually touring and taking West Coast hip hop nationwide and kind of, softening the people up for NWA. I think without Ice-T, NWA would have took a little longer to break. Yeah, for sure.
I remember when his was the first taste of like West Coast rap that I'd had, and I remember when I was a cassette guy, so I remember when that. I was a tape guy. I remember when that cassette came out, bought it and listened to it. And his lyrics they had taken it up a notch. Boogie Down Productions, KRS-One, Scott LaRock, they were the first like rappers that I remember were very specific about like my nine and guns and stuff like that. Up until that point, it was just, it was everyone throw your hands in the air, wave them like you just don't care. Or me and Chris.
Eazy-E would play Criminal Minded all day long.
I'm going to embarrass myself by doing Boogie Down Productions. We'll always get paid. To take the wackest songs
and make them better. Remember
to let us into your skin, because then you'll begin to master rhyming. Criminal minded, you've been blinded. Oh my God, he was, I think, my first favorite lyricist, KRS-One, because it was so based in language. Everything was like rich language. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Run DMC, but me and Chris Rock would always, like, Chris Rock's also a big Run DMC fan. So when we started working together, like, Run DMC was something we bonded over. And, Chris, I think, was the first one to be like, look, they're amazing, but let's be honest. Like, he's like, the next thing you know, you'll have a big car is not the most winning lyric in rap history. He goes, does the job for at the time. But he's like, lyrics got much better after that. KRS-One's lyrics just like changed my world in terms of like,
it changed the game.
Yeah. Did it really?
He showed that one MC can have 100 styles. It wasn't about, finding your cadence and just rocking your style and that's it. He showed that you can have many different styles on the, you know, and so it opened it up. It opened up your imaginations of how many different cadences you can master, you know, and still rhyme on time. And, you know, so KRS-One was a big influence, you know. It's like, I just think, you know, up until probably, man, I don't know when KRS-One wasn't an influence, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you even talked about, you know, the Blueprint album, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he's
the day begins with a grin and a prayer to excuse my sins. Yes.
He got some crazy, crazy work. And, I've seen him rock a show, you know, KRS-One, like, I seen him stand at the front of a stage like a real MC and just rock the crowd. And that's always been impressive to me. You know what I mean? He's a real one.
When first time you got to share a stage with somebody who you were a big fan of, you know, somebody, I can't believe we're here. Who was it?
Man, it was Heavy D and the Boys. It was Salt and Pepper, UTFO. Yeah, we had a show with them in San Diego. Guess who else was on that show?
Who?
MC Hammer and Too Short. First time we met Too Short and MC Hammer.
Get out of here.
Yeah, down in San Diego. And, we have been doing local shows in LA and here. You know, this tour was going through San Diego. UTFO tour was going through San Diego. And it had Salt and Pepper on the show, Heavy D and the Boys. And then we was opening up too.
So wait, you guys opened for them?
Yeah, we opened for them.
And did you open with the first album?
I don't even think we had the first album out. We just had dope ass singles out, you know, like
right.
I think Easy album was out. Easy Does It was probably out, but we had like Dope Man out, Gangsta Gangsta, 8-Ball. So we had singles that were, you know, enough for us to do a 25-minute, 30-minute show.
Was it a tone shift for that audience from you guys to then like now Salt and Pepper, Heavy D and the Boys?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But Tuco was on there too with his little dirty mouth. So between us and Too Short, I think we balanced everything out. But I know the East Coast groups was really tripping on us, you know. They was just, you know, I remember Heavy D's just saying, damn, man, how y'all get away with that? How y'all get away with that? And, you know, we didn't know no better. We was like, man, this what got us on the fucking road. If we was still doing, you know, regular raps and shit, we probably wouldn't be here. So we gonna stick with it.
Did you, when you guys were like, we're going to push the line, this is what we're going to rap about. Clearly it's going to upset some people. Is there any fear behind it, or you're just like, no? Or was there ever a moment where you're like, maybe we shouldn't go as far as we do?
No, it ain't no fear behind it because we had already started it.
Mm.
We were doing mixtapes just for the swap meet out here, Rhodium swap meet. So we was just doing hardcore cussing and shit on the mixtapes because we felt like it wasn't going on the radio.
Right.
And we could talk about the neighborhood because we wasn't trying to sell records in, you know, Philly. You know what I'm saying? We just talking about the neighborhood. So let's keep it about the shit that's going on around here. So those got popular. Those got real popular. As a matter of fact, Easy had a tape when he reconnected with Dre. Him and Dre knew each other in high school, but they reconnected once Easy started hearing these tapes on the street. Like, who's doing this? It's Dr. Dre. And he probably didn't know who I was at the time. So he started coming around. You know, this is like 84, 85. He started coming around us. And he wanted to be a manager. He wanted to get out the dope game. And so he wanted to manage this group. It was this group out of New York. He thought, I'm in LA, but I know these kids from New York. I need to work with them so we can actually be famous and shit. You know what I mean? So it wasn't no real like big LA rappers at the time. You know what I'm saying? Just, I mean, Ice-T was on his way, but everybody was still finding our way. So I wrote a song for him. And they turned the shit down. You see it in a movie called Boys in the Hood. And, and Dre convinced Easy to do it, and rest is history. But so we was like, you know, Easy let us do those kind of records where, you know, we was with this dude named Lonzo, he was a cool dude, but he was more into slacks and horseshoes, and, you know, he was into the barcades and shit, and into, you know, Confunction and these bands, these funk bands and shit. And he wasn't really into rap. You know, the first thing he said was like, who the fuck want to hear about somebody going to jail? You know what I mean? That's what he used to clown this bitch. Like, nobody want to hear nobody rapping about going to fucking jail. And he's like, this will never catch on. You know what I'm saying? So
it's so funny like, to think about.
Easy was with it.
It's so funny to think about now that somebody was like, you like lyrics that people could relate to. Why do you think that would work? Like there was a whole audience not being spoken to who could then hear their lives reflected in your work. That's groundbreaking.
It was good shit at the end of the day. I mean, we didn't think we was going to go too far because there was so much cussing on it. So we felt like our records was going to be, they used to put Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, Red Fox records in these sections called the Blue section. And we thought our records were going to be with the Dolomite records and shit, like in that Blue section. We didn't think it'd ever make it to the regular, you know, front of the store rap. And shit, it did. Quick.
Yes, fast. When did, you mentioned Boys in the Hood before, when did acting come into it? Because did you act in high school or anything, or no?
No, I never even thought about acting.
Who was it? John Singleton who approached you, or what?
John Singleton is the first one to come at me about it. He said, "Look, man, I got a movie you'll be perfect for." And I said, "What's your movie called?" He said, "Boys in the Hood." I said, "Hey, man, that's what. What you talking about?"
Yeah, my lawyer will be contacting you.
He said, no, it was inspired by what y'all did, but it's a story about the neighborhood. I wasn't half listening to him, you know. I was just at the time trying to be the greatest rapper in the world, and that was like laser focused. So he pursued me for about 2 years, and finally, you know, a script came to my manager, and I had forgot about John. I forgot all about him until I walked in and saw him sitting there, and I'm like, this got something to do with you? He said, yeah, remember me? I'm like, yeah, I remember you, man. And then, you know, he just helped me become an actor, you know, straight up. He helped me, you know, through the process between him, Cuba Gooding Jr., Lawrence Fishburne. You know, they really helped me stay on my feet and not, you know, fucking fall flat on my face, you know what I'm saying?
It reminds me of I put Jay and stuff because I'm like, oh my God, like I'm gonna write a part around this person. It sounds like John did the same thing in your case. Did you find, like, did you have to act, or was it close to your persona?
Well, I mean, it was close to my persona. But to be honest, I could have played any three of those characters. Like,
yeah, especially with the football and stuff.
I grew up with these dudes. You know what I'm saying? It was like dudes from my neighborhood, clearly. Like, so, you know, I could have did any part. So it was it was great, man. You know, just to have a movie. I remember reading the script and I had my wife read it. And after she finished reading it, you know, we was both blown away. Yeah, I only got 10% on my goddamn battery. We was both blown away. I might have to plug up some real. We was blown away, and I was like, damn, how we grew up is movie worthy. You know,
says the guy who was singing about how they grew up. Like,
yeah, I mean, I thought we could make raps about this shit, but like a movie. So, you know what I mean? That was kind of cool.
I remember when that movie came out, like, of course, John's story as the filmmaker who came from film school, like, you know, who said to an agent, like, all the movies you guys make are bullshit. You need to make something real. And, you know, he put his money where his mouth was and wound up making Boys in the Hood. So naturally, you know, that was one of those stories that as a young filmmaker, you're like, yeah, everything's possible. Anything's possible. But that movie was massive, tapped into the zeitgeist, was talked about everywhere. And it's also a really wonderful and watchable movie. Like at that point, what was, because you worked with John later on in Higher Learning and probably other things, right? How many times you worked with John?
I just worked on Higher Learning.
Just those two?
Yeah, we were supposed to do Poetic Justice. I was supposed to do Poetic Justice, but I'm glad Tupac took that role. You know, I just didn't feel right about the role, so I'm glad Tupac took it.
Did you really, like, there was a moment where he was presented to you and you were like, I don't
Yeah, he wrote it for me.
Really?
He wrote it for me. Yeah. Yeah, and we just couldn't agree on a certain part of the script. I just didn't like the fact that, you know, don't get me wrong, Janet Jackson is fine as hell, but I wouldn't throw out my homeboy for on the side of the road before we got to Oakland. You dig?
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't care if we did get into it. So I just felt like I don't want to play a character that kicks his homeboy out for a girl he just met.
Fair enough.
And he didn't want to change the part, so I said, give it to Pop. Mm-hmm.
What was he like? Because you worked with him as the young director, the guy who kind of broke on the scene. Was there confidence?
Commanding.
Really?
He was always commanding. Yeah. He was always commanding, man. You know, it was a trip just to see him take control over the set. You know what I'm saying? It was just a trip to see him take control.
Because of his age?
Yeah. You know, I had been on video shoots, but, you know, to see somebody that young, this is my first film set. So, you know, I'm thinking, you know, it's people there older than him. I know they've been in the business longer than him. But he was the man. And I appreciated watching him do that. You know, I learned a lot from him when it was time for me to do my movies. To know what you want, and fight for what you want. And, you know, don't let too many people, you know, it's like it can't be a director by committee. You can listen to everybody, but at the end of the day, you got to be the one directing that bitch.
Now,
or, you know, or let the director do his thing.
Sweating all the bitches in back and shit.